Brian here with DIY Outdoor Life. Today we're going to be discussing the Goal Zero Yeti 200x. This is the smallest of the Yeti series from Goal Zero, and there's a lot of other products on the market that are creating portable power stations in this size range. So we're going to discuss the things I love about this, the things that I hate about this, as well as try to use this as a platform to discuss the technology from a more broad standpoint. That way, hopefully we could provide a little education and help you find the portable power station in this size that best meets your needs. So for starters, it's important to know what you're getting when you purchase a 200 watt-hour portable power station. It doesn't matter what the brand is. That 200 watt-hours has to do with the capacity. A device of this size is designed to charge your phone and your laptop. You can power lights with this device, and on the DC side, you could run a CPAP machine or a small compressor camper fridge. You're not going to be running air conditioners, power tools, or hair dryers on a device of this size. What you are getting is a really high capacity functional device in a very small package. Now, I'll put the exact specs on the screen here somewhere, but this is a single size box of tissues. You could see from the height and width how small this device is. To give you some perspective, I can take my pinky and pick this device up and lift it by just using my pinky finger. This is a very small, lightweight device that has a lot of capabilities. But let's talk about what it comes with. So this unit comes with a 120 watt modified sine wave inverter. Normally this would be a deal breaker for me, but it's important to consider perspective. On a unit this size, an inverter, this device that allows you to run household appliances, is just a convenience. If the power goes out, I can plug my bedside lamp into this and run my phone off the USB side. On the larger units, it's important that we stick with pure sine wave, high quality inverters so we can run anything like a smart TV without creating the buzz or the loss of efficiency that comes from modified sine waves. On a unit of this size, it doesn't bother me one bit. Now the comm screen is going to be pretty basic as well. It's going to tell you what state of charge the unit's at. It'll give you a little indicator light when you're charging the unit up. Very basic stuff. It's handy, and that's on par with all the portable power stations of this size. What's going to interest most of us with these little tiny portable power stations is the DC and charging capability. We're talking about the USB interface, the 12 volt section on the device, and what type of charging capabilities these devices have. So coming over to the USB side of this device, it's the first case where this device is doing something considerably different than the competition. So we'll want to pay attention to that to see if it's something that interests us or not. It starts with two basic USB-As. We've been using these for years. They give you two of them. You guys know what USB-As are. But it also has two USB-Cs. The first one is an 18 watt output. This is standard stuff for our smartphones and new devices. My camera gear uses USB-C plugins, so that's a good fast charge option. The second port, although it looks the same, is a 60 watt power delivery port. A lot of the competition does not have this, and when they do, they're usually giving you a smaller one, like maybe up to a 40 watt power delivery port. This device is a lot more intelligent. There's a two-way communication, like a digital handshake that goes on to the device that you're plugging this in with. It allows them to communicate back and forth and optimize the charging. With a modern device and a modern cord, this can even exceed the 60 watts for charging a device. The handy part about it is it can also be used to charge this device. So I go out to the woods, I plug my laptop into this, and I run my laptop off of this tiny Goal Zero. When I get back to camp, I use that same charger, plug it into my camper, into the same port, and charge this device. So that's a capability that I found very handy, and I didn't see the same performance on any of the other systems in this size. So whether it's important to you or not is up to you, but just know that that's one standout difference. Now the last set of outputs on this device are the 12-volt outputs. There's a 6mm barrel output and a normal automotive style plug. Now these are both very high performance plugs, but there's nothing standout here. All of the competition now are including these regulated plugs. When I say it's regulated, I mean that this will maintain over 13 volts whether the battery's at 100% or the battery's at 5%. This is an excellent feature when you're running things like a portable compressor fridge. The old style units would lose their voltage as the battery dips down, and your refrigerator would turn off before you deplete your battery storage. I have a Bouge RV23. It's a small compressor style fridge. It uses just over 100 watts a day when you pre-charge it. When I plug that into this device, I get a day and a half plus of runtime with no solar hooked up. With a little bit of solar, I can get a long weekend out of my camper refrigerator with this device. Remember how small and light it is. It's an excellent addition to the galley of my teardrop camper. The next plug is the 6mm barrel plug. I've seen people use this to run diesel heaters. I've seen them run the water pumps on their campers or vans using this small 6mm output. It's also regulated. But what stood out for me, and the actual reason why I bought a second one of these units, is this Goal Zero Light-A-Life. I used to think this was an overpriced accessory and I stayed away from it. It's not. This device plugs into that output. You can use this button like a light switch, or there's an additional light switch on top. This cord unravels to give you a lot of range on the lights. There's magnets, there's carabiners, lots of things to attach this up with. If you need an extension cord, you can purchase them. This light can be used as a floodlight or a spotlight by reversing this dome. This dome diffuses the light and it magnifies the light. So all of this talking is to try to tell you that this produces a tremendous amount of light with a very small impact on this battery. This thing runs for like 1,000,000 years. Over here I'll post the actual time that it runs. I'll take this device, install it in a shed, a tiny home, a cabin. I've put these in outhouses and just left them there. When I go to that campsite or job site, I'll put this unit on a shelf and I'll have a high quality lighting solution. For me, this was a very, very valuable combo that's worth noting. Once again, I'll throw the caveat out that maybe that won't matter to you, and then you can save some money going with a cheaper unit. But this is one of the qualities that made me pay up to actually buy a second one of these units. So as far as charge times, I'll put a link in the description. Even Amazon has some listed charge times when you pan through the pictures on this. But most of us who have some experience in this world know a lot of times those numbers are useless. Sometimes they're exaggerated, sometimes they're overly conservative. So I want to give you a little bit of education that could help you out no matter what system you're looking at. There's something that we refer to as the stadium effect. It describes how charging slows down as capacity goes up. It's true of all of the models and all of the subchemistries of lithium batteries. We call it the stadium effect because you can envision a general admission stadium filling up. The first 80% of people quickly get to their seats. Then people have to start to walk around a little bit to find an open seat. The charging slows down. Another way that I teach this is like sticking a spring in a box. The first section might just drop right in, but then it has to be squeezed to fit the whole spring inside the box. So for this reason, and this is important for you guys to know if you don't know this already, you can easily calculate 0 to 75 or 0 to 80%. So for instance, let's say this battery is truly 200 watt hours. I think it's a little less, they round up. If you took a 100 watt charge and put it into this, in an hour and a half, you'd be at 75%. But to get to 100% is not 2 hours. It'll be considerably over that because of that slowdown in charge. So a company might tell you it takes 3 or 4 hours to charge this with 100 watts. but really you'd be at 75% in an hour and a half. That's true of all of the types of chargers. So take a 60-watt wall charger. Well, in the first hour, you'll be at 60 watts. The second hour, you'll be at 120 watts. In 2.5 hours, you'll be at 150 watts and about 75%. After that, things are just going to trickle along. So for those of us who use these every day out in the woods or camping, when we run to grab a fast charge, we usually grab it at 80% and head back. It's no longer worth waiting to squeeze the extra 20% in, whether you're like mooching from a diner or wherever you're squeezing some energy for our device if solar conditions aren't good. I hope that discussion helps out. So now let's talk about the things I love and the things I hate about this unit. Okay, so these deep dives take a lot of time to go through, but I know a lot of the viewers have appreciated some of the more detailed stuff that we get into based on my experience using these devices. So as far as the things that I love about this device, Goal Zero always stands strong on build quality. They use aluminum when the other folks are using plastic and ABS. They use stainless steel fasteners. They bolt things down. I use these for construction. I drop them, I carry them up on ladders and pull them with ropes. The Goal Zero systems last longer for me when I'm beating them up. So they did that here, and I appreciate it. The next thing that I love about this unit is what we discussed. Its relationship with the Light-A-Life on this 6mm port and this two-way 60-watt power delivery port. That is clearly the highlights of this system. The things that I don't like are a little bit more complicated. The first one isn't, it's price. This unit is $300. A lot of the competition's $200, $225. I would love to see this unit come down to $250. $300 is definitely paying up. I would avoid paying that if it wasn't for those highlights that we discussed. That's up to you. You have to make your own decision. The next thing that I don't like about this unit is a little bit more complicated, and I know that I'm going to get comments from people that think I'm on both sides of the issue. It's nuanced, but it has to do with the battery chemistry and why I'd like to see lithium iron phosphate in here instead of lithium NMC. So I'm going to do my best to deliver this comparison in a way that'll make sense for everyone. When I try to talk to beginners, people accuse me of talking to them like they're idiots. I used to teach elementary school, so I apologize for that. But when I try to talk to the viewers of this channel that have the more advanced knowledge, people change the channel because there's too much technical jargon. So this is what I'm talking about. Goal Zero uses lithium NMC. It is the lightest, most powerful subchemistry of lithium. What's really good about it is you get all of the power and capacity for a lot less weight. It's built very well, it has an excellent safety record, but people are dragging it through the coals because companies are trying to sell its sister technology, which is good at different things. It's actually a cheaper technology, lithium iron phosphate. It's much heavier. It doesn't do some things as well as lithium NMC, but it lasts a lot longer. It's a very rugged chemistry. So there's something to be said about both. And nobody should be putting one above the other. They're different tools. It's like a saw and a hammer. They do different things well. So you might have heard me with the larger units say that the lithium NMC is my favorite because I need these to be portable. A Jackery 2000 weighs 40-some pounds. A Blue Yeti 2000 weighs 60-some pounds. That's the difference between me carrying it with one hand up onto a roof of a cabin and not. But not everyone does that type of work. The advantage of the lithium iron phosphate batteries is how long they last. My criticism of that, having spent thousands of hours using these systems. I've broken a whole lot of portable power stations. The battery's never what goes. It's always an unreplaceable inverter, a BMS, some firmware fries on the unit, and you're not able to fix it. So the argument that lithium iron phosphate on bigger systems makes them last longer doesn't fly with me because I have too much experience to the counter of that. However, I want you to see how the rules change with a smaller system. If I plug a 100-watt load into this system, I'm using 50% of its battery capacity. That's a very demanding thing to do to a battery. And after 1,000 cycles of that, I'm going to start wearing out the battery. If I put a 100-watt load on this system, I'm using 10% of its battery capacity, and it's going to be a lifetime before I wear that battery out at that load. So I hope you can see that that same load is actually 10 times more detrimental to a small battery than it is a big battery. That's why I like to see the lithium iron phosphate in these smaller units, because you're using a bigger piece of the pie when you're taking a load off of it. That means that for a unit of this size, I could actually envision that lithium NMC being the weak point in this unit, where it's not in this bigger unit. And if it weighs 33% more, I think I could deal with that weight. So I told you that I bought a second one of these, so you know that I still love them. I'm spending my own hard-earned money on these units. These aren't freebies. So what I think I need to do is save some money and buy an extra 200-watt system using the lithium iron phosphate chemistry. That way, for things like I have a big battery charger and running my fridge for a long period of time, I know I won't be degrading the battery like I might be on this smaller system. So I hope you found this video helpful. This is not a sales pitch. There's no sponsorship money that gets me to hawk one brand over the other. I'll include this product as well as the competition in my description so that you can shop around and find what's best for you. As always, since I don't just sign on with these companies and hawk products, it costs me a lot of money to do videos like this. So I appreciate when you use the links in my description because it supports the channel. And thank you so much for the people that have clicked the Buy Me a Coffee option. It's what allows me to do these product reviews and share them with you today. So thank you, like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time.